Hello, can you hear me?
Good evening, Laushi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last class we presented the um, thesis that we are reviewed, and several students did a good job, and other students um, didn't have time to finish their presentation. So this class will leave some time for um, the left ones to present. Um, and First, we'll have a little review on the former class that we introduced the attitudes and the persuasion section, and we'll play several videos from Professor Solomon. The first one is about attitudes.
Toward a wide range of things, from product-specific behaviors such as you use
Just a minute.
paste rather than Colgate, to more general consumption-related behaviors, such as how often you should brush your teeth. When Subaru of America began work on a new marketing strategy, the automaker discovered that even though most auto buyers had heard of the brand, few had strong emotional connections to it. However, current Subaru owners expressed strong passion and even love for the brand. To ramp up this emotional connection for non-owners as well, the new campaign targets people who are in three different stages of buying a car, what Subaru calls the heart, the head, and the wallet. The heart stage focuses on the love that owners show for their cars. Commercials share personal stories of their attachment. The head stage ads, in contrast, present the rational side of specific models, as they emphasize how the cars benefit their owners in terms of reliability, economy, and so on. Then the wallet ads deal with the financial details of actually buying a Subaru. These include special offers from local dealers. You should consider all three of these components when you want to communicate with your target market. Like the Subaru campaign, an attitude has three components: affect, behavior, and cognition. Affect describes how a consumer feels about something. Behavior refers to the actions he or she takes toward it. And cognition is what he or she believes to be true about the attitude object. So how do we measure attitudes? One problem is that many attributes or qualities may link to a product or service. Depending on the individual, some of these will be more or less important. Less filling, tastes great. Another problem is that when a person decides to take action toward an attitude object, other factors influence his or her behavior, such as whether he or she feels that family or friends would approve. Because attitudes are so complex, marketing researchers may choose to measure several aspects of an attitude, rather than just asking people what their attitude toward a brand is. They may also weight these elements differently, because typically some elements are more important than others. For example, your customers may consider both your package design and your product's ingredients when they form an attitude toward your product, but it's likely that what's inside is more important. In addition, social pressure also drives behavior, even when a person's attitude isn't in line. Much as we may hate to admit it, what we think others would like us to do may override our own preferences. So, in addition to measuring how your customers regard different aspects of your product, service, or store, it's also a good idea to take into account how social expectations may also play a role in determining how they actually act. Remember, customer attitudes involve the head, the heart, and the wallet. So be sure to consider all three when you try to change their attitudes. We live in a world overflowing with sensations. Wherever we turn, a symphony of colors, sounds, and odors bombards us. Some of the notes in this symphony occur naturally. A loud barking dog, the shade of the evening sky, or the smell of a rose bush. Others come from people, like the person who sits next to you in class with swirling tattoos, bright pink pants, and overpowering perfume. And let me give you an flavored jelly, particularly red.
Not this one.
Now, advertisers constantly bombard us with messages imploring us to change our attitudes and, of course, buy their products. These persuasion attempts can range from logical arguments to graphic pictures, from peers who try to intimidate us to celebrities who try to charm us. As every sales professional knows, there are some basic psychological principles that influence people to change their minds or comply with a request. For example, items are more attractive when they aren't available. That helps explain why we tend to value limited edition items. Another principle is that we're more likely to follow the lead of an authoritative source much more readily than one that is less authoritative. That explains why the U.S. public's opinion on an issue can shift by as much as 2% when the New York Times, but not the National Enquirer, runs an article about it. A marketer who wants to craft a persuasive message has a lot of options to choose from. In particular, he or she should think about these basic elements of communication: the source, the medium, the message, and the receivers. The choice of a source is key. Often, who relays the message is more important than what the message says. The source must be credible, and depending upon the type of product, this credibility is linked to whether consumers perceive him or her to be an expert on the topic, or perhaps to be so socially attractive, like a well-liked celebrity, that they're willing to follow that person's recommendations no matter the product category. In general, we can think of the medium as being either passive or active. Television is a passive medium, where the viewer is likely to absorb information without thinking a lot about it. In contrast, print is an active medium, where the reader actively processes information and determines the pace at which it's absorbed. This means that broadcast media are better suited for image-oriented messages, while print media work better in cases where the receiver needs to be more involved in making sense of the information that's being presented. The message or content of the persuasive communication can be presented in many different ways. For example, some typical advertising appeals are USP, or unique selling proposition, humor, fear, and sex. A USP appeal is very straightforward and gets right to the reason that one option is superior to others. In contrast, appeals that depend upon humor, fear, or sex are much more complicated. They can work really well, but they also have more potential to backfire. Some consumers might be put off by a blatant sex appeal, for example. Humor is very effective, so long as the intended receivers get the joke. This becomes a lot less likely when you talk to consumers from other cultures who aren't tuned into the subtleties of what's funny about your message. Finally, who are your receivers? Are they highly motivated to listen to your arguments or likely to want to tune out your messages? How knowledgeable are they about your product category? What media do they use to learn about what to buy? You can have the most carefully crafted, persuasive message the world has ever seen. But if your target audience doesn't encounter it or isn't motivated to pay attention, you might as well not bother. Just as there are many ways to skin a cat, or so the saying goes, there are many ways to craft a persuasive message. Pay careful attention to all of the elements of communication, and you're much more likely to win customers over to your point of view. We
Teacher,
Yes.
can I, about presentation the last time when I make research, can I later present it one more time? This class.
Another presentation?
Yeah, I just make it not just presentation, research work.
You want to present in this class?
Yeah, if it's
About
possible.
an article?
I just want to continue the theory of client behavior.
If we have more time, okay, I
Yeah,
will
okay.
consider your presentation time. Okay.
Yeah, just as you told, I can make it one more time if I have time. Thank you.
And today we're going to talk something about the consumer decision making and consumer behavior, especially buying, using, disposing, different stages of consumer behavior. Okay, now let's move to decision making. So this part is all about consumers' decision making process, and In this section, we're talking about the categories or types of consumer decision making, and the decision making process. The main points today. First one, the three categories of consumer decision making are cognitive, habitual, and affective. A cognitive purchase decision is the outcome of a series of stages that results in the selection of one over the competing ones. And the habitual consumer decision making, which means we often rely on rules of thumb to make routine decisions. And affective. We'll talk more about the, for example, the brand love, the cult products, and so on. So marketers often need to understand consumers' behavior rather than one consumer's behavior. And the decision-making process differs when people choose what to buy on behalf of an organization rather than for personal use. And it also differs when people choose what to buy for gifts rather than for oneself. And members of a family unit play different roles and have different amounts of influence when the family makes purchase decisions. And to some degree, consumer purchase means response to problem they're confronting with. So consumers are just problem solvers. After realization that we want to make a purchase, we go through a series of steps in order to make it. We may find the alternatives, the information of where to buy, the price, the brands, and the time, and so on. And the consumer purchase may seem automatic or like a full-time job. So we have market movers, we have buyers as full-time job. And an interesting thing is there will be purchase momentum. So you can think about your own purchase behavior. Purchase momentum occurs when consumers buy beyond needs satisfaction. And for example, if you are shopping in a mall and after you bought one desirable product, and you will show the purchase momentum, because after the first desirable purchase, you will make another one immediately, or you may be very happy to go on to continue your shopping behavior. And sometimes you may have impulsive purchase behavior. And the type and the scope of problems consumer confronting with varies enormously. So the way consumers evaluate and choose products varies widely. Given the range of problems we all confront in our lives, it is difficult to apply a one-size-fits-all explanation to the complexities of consumer behavior. For many of us, one of the biggest problems is not having too few choices, but rather too many. So this condition is considered as consumer hyper-choice. Forces us to make repeated decisions that may drain psychological energy while decreasing our abilities to make smart choices. We have a further reading. The paradox of a choice, why more is less. And sometimes less is better. So these are all about the conditions that we confront with, because we have so many choices today, and we should choose one among these choices, these alternatives. But it's difficult and it's very complex for different people. And there are three categories of consumer decision making, just like three buckets. First one is cognitive, which means deliberate, rational, sequential decision making. It is based on based on the consumer knowledge, and consumers are claimed to make rational decisions after evaluate all of the alternatives and select the smart one. Habitual decision making means behavioral, unconscious, automatic. For example, when you are thirsty after, sports, after running, after playing tennis ball, and you may want to buy some soft drinks, and you have your favorite brand, your favorite one, for example, Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, or just tea or coffee. So under this condition, you may just buy the one that you are most like, that is your favorite product or your favorite brand. So it's just like automatic purchase, not based on deliberate thinking and compare with different brands. So it's a quick purchase. It's a quick process. That you just rely on your habit, your Euro test. So this is habitual decision making. Just follow your routine decisions, routine behavior. The third one is affective, emotional, instantaneous. So marketers usually cultivate their brand. So you can see the brands with high degree of value, they will spend a lot of time on building their consumers' brand loyalty, and to attract the consumer and to motivate the consumers to thinking, to set up close relationships with their brands. And the most loyal consumers may have high degree of brand identification, brand love, brand attachment. So under these conditions, the consumer will make effective decisions. So the underlying mechanism of these different categories of consumer decision making quite different. In summary, cognitive decision-making is from the rational perspective. Integrate as much information as possible with what they already know about a product, and weigh pauses and minuses of each alternative. Arrive at a satisfactory decision. Okay, so under this type of decision making, we should follow the whole cognitive decision making process. Just like the figure illustrates, the cognitive decision making process includes 5 stages. First stage is problem recognition. For example, Richard realized he is fed up with a black and white TV that has bad sound reproduction. Then the second stage is to search related information. So Richard surfs the web to learn about the TVs. And the third stage is evaluation of possible alternatives. So Richard compared several models in the store in terms of reputation, available features, and so on. And the fourth stage is to make product choice, to choose product based on the consumer, the individual's evaluating rules. Richard chose one model because it has a feature that really appeals to him. So the last stage is after purchase. How to use the product and the satisfaction. So here in this example, Richard brings home the TV and enjoys his purchase. So this illustrates the cognitive decision-making process. It covers 5 stages. And the marketers may have different strategies from the beginning stage to the final one. In the beginning, the stage 1 problem recognition, marketers can create a primary demand, encourage customers to use product category, and then persuade consumers to use specific brand. In the second stage, information search. Marketers should make their product or brand information available to the consumers. And this figure illustrates the relationship between amount of information search and product knowledge. As we can see, if we have more product knowledge, the amount of information increases and then come to a top point and then go down, decreases. So this is about the economics of information. When consumers gather as much data as needed to make informed decisions, the information searching amount will decreases. But consumers do not always search rationally because some consumers avoid external search, especially with minimal time to do so and with durable goods. Symbolic items require more external search. We select familiar brands when decision situation is ambiguous. So under these conditions, the marketers may attract consumers to choose their own brand, to choose specific brand, because there are many similar products, and consumers are variety thinking. They want to choose new alternatives over more familiar ones. So marketers can persuade consumers to try a new one. So consumers can satisfy their variety thinking needs. In the third stage, evaluating the alternatives. Usually consumers will evaluate from several brands. Mainly occurs when choice conflicts arouse negative emotions, especially difficult trade-offs. They should evaluate all of the alternatives well and then make their choice. If this is just the habitual decision, consumers may consider a few or no brand alternatives because they just choose the one they favorite most. Or they just use the products or the brand in their daily life, so they may not have they may not spend time or effort to do the evaluation. This is habitual. Follow their habits. But for other conditions, consumers may evaluate several alternatives. So for marketers, they should put their emphasis on help consumers to include their brands into their consideration set. Consumers usually don't seriously consider every brand we know about. We often include only a surprisingly small number of alternatives in our evoked set. And marketers should focus on getting their brands in their evoked set. Evoked. We call the alternatives the consumer knows about the evoked set, and the ones he or she seriously considers the consideration set. Yes. And a marketer who finds his brand is not in his target market evoked set has cause to worry. Because you don't get a second chance to make a good first impression to be heaven into the consumer's evoked set. The consumer isn't likely to place a product in his evoked set after he has already considered it and rejected it. And we are more likely to add a new brand to the evoked set than when we have previously considered but passed over. Think about the consumers' variety thinking. That's like, for example, when consumers want to buy electric vehicle today, we can see that in the market there are many new brands of electric vehicles, especially in China we have so many emerging brands that launched by the traditional automobile enterprises, and there are many emerging brands, and quite new brands from the new car making forces. For example, Tesla, the pioneer brand, and in China we have 未来、理想、小鹏, and so on. So if there are new brands coming into consumers' consideration set, the consumer may taking it into their evoked set. So they may pay more attention to the new brand and may reject the traditional ones or the old ones. So today we can see from the sales volumes that the emerging brands sell well. And they sell well compared with the traditional ones. And during this stage, consumers may perceive the risk buying this product or after buying this product. So here, perceived risk is a term refers to the belief that a product has negative consequences. And there are many dimensions for perceived risk. For example, the product may be expensive, complex, hard to understand, and if the product is visible to others, consumer may confront the risk of embarrassment for wrong choice. And the risks can be objective, for example, physical danger, or subjective, just a social embarrassment. So for marketers, they should make their efforts to help consumers to decrease the perception level of perceived risk. Here list out the 5 types of perceived risk. Monetary risk, for example, expensive. And functional risk, required exclusive. Physical risk, and social risk, psychological risk. Monetary usually consists of money and property, and a functional usually means performance, and physical usually relate to the vigor, health, vitality. Social usually refers to self-esteem and self-confidence. Psychological usually relate to the affiliations and status, self-respect, and so on. So perceived risk may have a negative effect on consumer purchase behavior, and this construct is very popular when conducting academic research, especially to predicting the consumer's purchase intention to specific categories or specific products for a brand. When evaluating the products, we usually categorize products into different categories, and evoked set products usually share similar features. For example, dessert. From the superordinal level, they can categorized into fattening dessert or non-fattening dessert. And this is the basic level. And the subordinal level, for example, fattening dessert includes ice cream, pie, cake, and non-fattening dessert refers to those fruit, yogurt, low-fat ice cream. So marketers want to ensure that their products are correctly grouped in knowledge structures. And this will be helpful for consumers to evaluate or just to categorize them into the evoked set. For marketers, they should make desirable product positioning, convincing consumers that the product should be considered within a given category. And products or services provided will be different from their competitors. And brands strongly associated with the category cause the shots by defining evaluative criteria. Moderately on Euro products stimulate more information processing and positive evaluations. Locating products that do not fit clearly into categories confuse consumers. These strategies may help marketers to attract their target market, but their exceptional case. One exceptional case is the large supermarket. I forgot what's the name. However, so one exceptional case is that in one large supermarket, they have different location strategies because they will locate different categories. For example, they may locate the foods around the toys or around the clothes area, and especially they will put one specific product which are on sales in some secret, not obvious location, and then consumers may walk through the whole supermarket, and then they can find the product that are on sales, and this strategy may be helpful to increase the sales amount, the amount of sales volumes. Then this is very interesting. But many times, the locating products is very helpful for consumers to find the categorized products in short time. The evaluative criteria refers to dimensions used to judge merits of competing options, especially those we use to differentiate from our choices. And marketers usually educate consumers about the determinant attributes. For example, pointing out a significant difference among brands on the specific attribute, on this determinate attribute. If deciding among competing brands, then use the attributes as a criterion. There are several decision rules. Compensatory decision rules refers to give a product a chance to make up for its shortcomings. And the non-compensatory decision rules refers to when we feel that a product with a low standing on one attribute can't compensate for this flaw by doing better on another attribute. For example, select the brand that is the best on the most important attribute. Evaluate the brand on the most important attribute. But there are very interesting things in this evaluation stage. And here list out some popular theories used to explain the biases in decision-making process. The very famous one is prospect theory. And the second one is mental accounting. And the sunk cost fallacy. And nudging. So here, just 3 types of biases: framing, priming, nudging. Framing refers to how we pose the question to people, or what exactly we ask them to do. Prospectory theories holds that risk differs when consumer faces options involving gains versus those involving losses. So think about the alternative brands. One emphasize the possible gains after choosing their products, and another brand emphasizing the possible losses. Which one will you choose? Mental accounting means framing a problem in terms of gains or losses influences our decisions. Sunk cost fallacy means we are reluctant to waste something we have paid for. See if there are any. There, no more information. I will explain it more because this is very interesting and very valuable for you guys to understand the consumer decision making. People hate losing things more than they like getting things. And economists call this tendency loss aversion, 损失厌恶 loss aversion. In one study, teachers who had the opportunity to improve student performance didn't make the grade in terms of improved test scores. However, those who got extra money at the beginning of the year and were told they would lose it if their students did not show sufficient progress managed to bring up their scores. And another illustration to see how framing works, consider the following scenario. You've scored a free ticket to a sold-out football game. You've scored a free ticket to a sold-out football game. At the last minute, a sudden snowstorm makes it somewhat dangerous to get to the stadium. Will you still go? Now assume the same game and a snowstorm, except this time you paid a small fortune for the ticket. You paid a small fortune for the ticket. Would you head out in the storm in this case? The first one is a free ticket condition and the storm, the snowstorm. The second condition is the same game and the snowstorm, except you paid for the ticket. So which conditions will you consider to make the decision to go to see the game? Which one? It's very interesting, right? Can send it to the language in the group? No, just this. Let's see. Oh, Obviously, the second condition is the loose condition, right? Loose condition. And the first one, you got free ticket if you go to the stadium to watch the game, the football game, that you will gain something. But the second condition, if you won't go to the stadium, you will lose something. You lose the ticket value. So researchers who work on prospect theory analyze how the value of a decision depends on gains or losses. And they identify principles of mental accounting related to the way we frame the question as well as external issues shouldn't influence our choices but do anyway. This is the main idea about the framing biases. So researchers find that people are more likely to risk their personal safety in the storm if they paid for the football ticket than if it's just a freebie. Only the most die-hard fan would fail to recognize that this is an irrational choice because the risk is the same, regardless of whether you got a great deal on the ticket. And researchers call this decision-making biases the sunk cost fallacy. If we've paid for something, we are more reluctant to waste it. But the risk is the same, right? And this is very interesting and very helpful for you guys. For example, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend that you have this relationship for a long period, and you may not want to end this relationship as the time increases. But if you just have a short period of a relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend, then you may have more willing to break up with him or her because you do not pay more for this relationship. But for the former case, you have already paid a lot of time and effort in this relationship for a long period, so you may be more reluctant to waste it, so you may not want to break up with him or her. And this is the same condition which is called sunk cost fallacy. Another bias is priming and nudging. Unlike a standard economic theory that regards people as rational decision makers, the rapidly growing field of behavioral economics focuses on the effects of psychological and social factors on the economic decisions we make. And many of these choices are anything but rational. It turns out it's quite possible to modify the choices of individuals and groups merely by tinkering with the way we present information to them. Cues in the environment that make us more likely to react in a certain way, even though we are unaware of these influences. A prime is a stimulus that encourages people to focus on some specific aspect of their lives, such as their financial well-being or the environment. And this will have different influences on consumer decision making. For example, a group of undergraduates were primed to think about money. They saw phrases like, "she spends money liberally," or pictures that would make them think of money. Then this group and a control group that wasn't focused on money answered the question about moral choices. Those students who had been primed to think of money consistently exhibit weaker ethics. They are more likely to say they would steal a ream of paper from the university's copying room, and more likely to say they would lie for financial gain. When people see pictures of cute products, they are more likely to engage in indulgent behavior, such as eating larger portions of ice cream. In a field study in a wine store, researchers played either stereotypically French or German music on alternate days. On the days when French music was in the background, people bought more French versus German wine. And the reverse happened on German music days. Consumers were not aware of the impact of the music. So this is the illustration of the prime effect. The last one is nudge. Much of the current work in behavioral economics demonstrate how a nudge, that is the deliberate change by an organization intends to modify behavior, can result in dramatic effects. A simple nudge that changes how people act is to switch from asking consumers to opt in to a program to asking them to opt out of a program if they don't want to participate. In Europe, countries that ask drivers to indicate if they want to be an organ donor convince less than 20% of drivers to do so. In contrast, those that require drivers to opt out if they don't want to be owners get more than 95% participation. So this is very interesting. If you have a more interest in this biases in decision-making process, you can search for more research papers to do more reading and find more. It's all about it's all from the perspective of behavioral economics. And stage 4, product choice. Select from the alternatives. There are some decision rules. They can be very simple or very complicated. Depends on the prior experience. Present information and beliefs about the brands. The final stage is post-purchase evaluation. Okay, we may talk more later class. There are many other decision making. This is a habitual decision making. The choices we make with little or no conscious effort. We should differentiate inertia from brand loyalty. Consumer inertia is a tendency to buy a brand out of a habit merely because it requires less effort. While brand loyalty refers to repeat purchasing behavior, reflects a conscientious decision to continue buying the same brand. Heuristics will lead to a speedy decision. Price-quality relationship. We tend to get what we pay for. All brands are basically the same. Larger stores offer better prices than smaller ones. Items tied to giveaways are not a good value. Those are mental rules of thumb. And sometimes we'll rely on the product signal, which are observable product attributes, communicate underlying qualities. For example, clean and shiny car usually represents good mechanical condition. Country of origin. A product's address matters. For example, consumers may have positive or negative perception of their own country-made brands. In previous several decades or several years ago, Chinese prefer foreign countries' brands, especially American and Europe brands, but have a negative impression on the native brands. But today we can see the change that Chinese, especially young consumers, prefer China brands over foreign brands. For different markets, country of origin may have obvious impact on consumer decision. Familiar brand names will have a close relationship with consumers. Higher prices usually represents the higher quality. Selective decision-making refers to the condition that more than one person chooses the products or services. Multiple consumer use, especially a family decision-making, organizational decision-making. So under these conditions, we should have some knowledge on the related rules. Initiator, who bring up idea or identifies needs. Gatekeeper, conducts information search. Influencer, sways outcome of decision. Buyer actually makes the purchase. User winds up using product. All of these rules can have have their influence on the decision-making process, especially in different decision-making process stage. For organizational decision-making, we usually have organizational buyers, and they're on behalf of the companies. B2B marketers specialize in meeting needs of organizations like corporations, government agencies, hospitals, and retailers, and so on. Although there are similarities between organizational and individual consumer decision-making, there are obvious differences. This is beyond this course, so we may just leave it for you guys to thinking more about the condition of organizational decision-making. And for family decision making, there are more aspects, and we won't have enough time to talk more about these points. You can find more, or you can learn more after class, because the different sex rules, the different roles, family members, family size, and generations, non-human family members, family life cycle, all have impacts on family decision makers, and there are changing attributes, changing behavior along the times. So in summary, today we talked about the decision making, and especially the cognitive purchase decision process. And we have introduced the different categories of consumer decision making, and the 5 stages of the cognitive purchase decision process, and evaluation biases in decision making process is very interesting and valuable. So if you have more interest, you can search for more articles to search more to make. Maybe you can think about when research question rely on these types of theories, such as prospect theory, mental accounting, or you may using the priming or nudging techniques to persuade the consumers to make their purchase decision. And there are many researchers that are testing the effect of a priming of framing or nudging. So you can search for the title or for the keywords to find more academic papers. Okay, and I'm interested in these types of research, and I already conducted a series of researches using the message framing, the priming effect, and I will try the nudging in later research. Okay, so this is today's contents. Now we have a 5 minutes break, okay? And then
Okay.
we'll invite you guys to make presentations. Well, guys, let's continue. And who's go first? 周拉丽、穆阿蒙、刘星辰、李帅、宇轩、
老师，我来。
穆阿蒙。
对 ，yes.
Okay. 5 minutes. Okay.
5
Can I
minutes.
present after here?
Okay, let me share my screen. In 5 minutes, it's a bit small. Anyway, my thesis, the thesis I found, is a recent thesis from International Journal of Consumer Studies. Wait. The title, The Effect of Product Category on Customer Motivation for Customer Engagement Behavior. It's published on June 1st. So the abstract is recently research on customer engagement behavior has rapidly developed. This is the main content of this thesis, right? The finding everything. So in abstract, it shows that the survey method, here the results, some stuff. So, and even the gap of those literature review. This study aims to understand the nature of customer motivation, investigate how the elements and impact on CEB or customer engagement behavior differ between product settings, tangible versus intangible, or high involvement versus low involvement. Those are the main part of this thesis or this research paper. So to the introduction part, it's a bit large, so I don't know how can I finish in 5 minutes. So engaged customers are reluctant to switch because of customer engagement is to find a new customers to engage in that company or and that product server.
You can
So
just
here,
focus on your marked sentences.
my own sentence.
Marked. Red ones and
Engaged customers are reluctant to switch and are less price sensitive than non-engaged customers. That's the reason why this research is, because it's looking for a new customer or to engage a new customer. Therefore, many companies struggle to create an engaged customer base. This is literature. However, CEB includes a broad range of non-transactional customer actions, such as word of mouth, making recommendation, helping other customers, blogging, writing, reviews, taking legal action, so on. What is consequently is aim for non-transactional customer behavior beyond purchase, which is the scope of this study. Okay, let's fast more. Okay, here is the main gap of this research. The existing research and then the base of this research is what? The best of our knowledge. No empirical study has offered a comparative analysis of the interplay between CM means customer motivation and customer engagement behavior intensity in the various product settings, tangible products, intangible products, high or low involvement product. Those maybe if you confuse what's tangible, what's intangible product, or high or low involvement. There's a reminder I wrote here. Following the holistic approach, not like a situational approach, considering all CEB dimensions. CEB dimensions, we call them like customer to customer, communication, customer complaining, behavior, and customer collaboration behavior. Those are what we call it in CEB, or customer engagement behavior dimension. So based on prior research, CBA dimension, we consider the following CE behaviors beyond the purchase to be, this is what I mentioned. Okay, theoretical background and hypothesis development. The main of one research is to test hypothesis, because we read something and then we have a limited resource or a limited evidence, then we made our hypothesis. Then we develop or we test in different methods to see that our hypothesis is true or not. So from here, this research paper, they developed four hypotheses. The main thing here, CM for customer engagement behavior, is they use a goal framing theory, postulate that multiple goals, also called motives, right? When we have different goals, so that motivate us to do something. Frame the way for people process and act upon information. This is from Lindenberg. So the goal is cognitive representation of the desired end state. Okay, in short, what has those goal frame theory? Hedonic, to feel better right now. Normative, to act appropriately, and gain, to guard and improve one's research. There are different goal framing theory. So this paper examined that which goal framing dimensions, those dimension is particularly impact on something. Maybe some research they overlooked gain or hedonic or normative. So this paper try to examine which parts or which among three of goal framing theory, which one is more appropriate for this, which one is more impact for maybe for low involvement or high involvement or tangible or intangible. Okay. The first hypothesis is that this author or this researcher developed is what CM or customer motivation for customer engagement behavior is multidimensional construct consisting of hedonic, normative, and gain dimensions. Okay, to go fast, just for sake of time, he developed another based on existing literature. He also developed another hypothesis. Hypothesis second is what normative drivers are strongly related to CM for customer engagement for intangible products than tangible product. The third one, or 2B, is hedonic drivers are strongly related to customer motivation for customer engagement behavior for high involvement products than the low involvement product. Those prediction or those hypotheses is based on the existing literature. He already tested, but this during his hypothesis, he doesn't know which his hypothesis, whether his hypothesis right or not. Maybe his finding align with his hypothesis or not. So he also another third one, maybe or the fourth, because he divided to A and to B. The third hypothesis is there is a direct and positive impact of consumer motivation on the intensity of customer engagement behavior. The last hypothesis is what? The fourth one, positive effect of consumer motives impact on customer engagement behavior is stronger for tangible products than tangible products. The fourth B, positive effect of customer motives impact on customer engagement behavior is stronger for high involvement products than low involvement products. Here is a note, maybe if some of you are confused. Low involvement products are usually inexpensive and pose a low risk to the buyer if he or she makes a mistake by purchasing them. For example, like buying beer or maybe candy, those simple stuff. The high involvement products carry high risk to the buyer if they fail or are complex or have high price tags. Like if you mistakenly paid, maybe you take a risk. And an intangible and assets, maybe tangible and intangible is from the name. It's so easy, I think. No need to explain more. Methodology, product categories, because this is which he chose for product, cell phone, mobile banking, mobile phone, banking products as intangible, mobile phones and clothes and beer. Those are tangible, and beer as a low involvement product. Then he tested what? Acknowledge whether involvement were make any difference in same dimension and impact on CEB or customer engagement behavior. And this, we selected two pair of products differ only in one context. And then you could focus specific product context.
Wama,
Mm.
you can introduce the research design. Not
Research.
introducing so many details.
Yeah, here methodology.
Research design, where scroll down and down,
Down. Here or what? Here methodology.
No more.
This is hypothesis, methodology. This is product categories, how the way he choose the product, which products involved in this research, and this is sample and data collection, where those data are collected and when participants, those people, maybe categorized in age, and then their education background.
So
and
Chinese research design is the like them they use experimental studies, factorial design.
As a measure to measure, right? Those he measured this. He used 5-point Likert scales, right? We use commonly in different situations. For example, like one is strongly disagree because he asked them their involvement, their
These are the observed variables.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see the results.
Okay.
Data analysis.
Yeah, analytical strategy. Use software and estimation method. The results are here. First, the analysis confirms that the hedonic, normative, and gain dimension are important for customer motivation regardless of the product category. In all analyzed product category, the standardized loadings were at least 0.8. This is on that I didn't bring all of it because the research paper is too large. So the tested model is fitted to the data, and then factor loading has confirmed that a multidimensional construct CM for CEB is a multidimensional construct. This is almost the same with his hypothesis for his first hypothesis, right? The second loading of first order factor hedonic and of CM is tangible and intangible product contexts were estimated to test hypothesis second. As the result shows that only hedonic motivation is stronger in tangible than tangible context. Therefore, his hypothesis concludes as a result of
It's okay. And now my comments, okay?
okay.
Actually, you did a thorough literature review on this paper, and you reviewed very carefully, especially for the research background and the theoretical background.
Yes,
Literature review, hypothesis development. Next time, you may put more emphasis on the research theoretical framework and the research design. And that for data analysis section, you can present the main tables or figures, and then you can describe the results.
Okay.
Okay, so that will be very clear.
Yeah, that's because of time, Lusha. There's a lot of table and a lot of graphs on that paper. So
yeah,
no problem. I bring.
This section should be very should be very detailed. And after the theoretical review and hypothesis developing, I think that you should put more emphasis on learning how to make research design on this type of research. And you can learn how did they conduct the research design, using which kind of methods, and the procedures of conducting the research. And then you can learn more on the data analysis method, how to analyze the data collected in this type of research. And then I think that you can follow some of the research design and data analysis method to do your own research. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think it's enough, right? The last part maybe implication, some stuffs,
Yeah.
conclusion, and
I know.
limitation. Okay, thank
You
you.
did a, yeah, you did a thorough research, thorough review. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Next
Lasha.
student. Uh,
Oh shit.
another one, Zholali, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, go ahead. Okay, I can see your screen.
Hello everyone. My name is Jolani. Can you hear my voice? Hello everyone. My name is Jolani, and today I'll be talking about the paper of
Okay.
impact of consumers' corporate social responsibility, related activities in social media on brand attitude, electronic word of mouth intention, and purchase intention. A study of Chinese consumer behavior by Shu Chuang Chuan Qing Chen. Let's go to introduction. This paper examines the impact of consumers' corporate social responsibility related activities on social media on their brand attitude, electronic word of mouth intentions, and purchase intentions, especially in the context of Chinese consumer behavior. The study finds that corporate social responsibility related activities on social media have a positive impact on brand attitude and electronic word of mouth intentions, which leads to increased purchase intentions. The author suggests that companies should actively engage in consumer social responsibility related activities on social media to improve brand attitude and encourage positive word of mouth and purchase behavior among consumers in China. This study provides an important insight on consumers' behavior and corporate social responsibility by investigating social media on an important and emerging marketing platform. Moreover, this study fills in the research gap about the association between consumers' social CSR-related activities in social media and their responses to brands. Literature review. The paper examines previous research on the impact of corporate social responsibility on consumer behavior, particularly in the context of Chinese consumers. Corporate social responsibility is a model used by companies to engage with the society and the environment, and also to create a positive impact on the society and the environment. Prior research suggests that CSR has an impact on consumers' satisfaction, enhances corporate performance and reputation, and improves evaluation. A growing number of brands have begun to explore the use of social media for their corporate social responsibility initiatives, such as Tom's Shoes uses social media to promote their socially responsible campaigns that donate shoes for the people that needs them. According to the authors, prior research proposed that CSR activities involves four main responsibilities: economic, legal, ethical, and philanthropic. They suggested that philanthropic donations, improving workplace practices, and pro-environmental initiatives are three of the most common forms. Social media have been found that to have a positive impact on brand awareness, consumer engagement, and viral advertisement. Many companies use CSR activities to raise brand awareness and engage in CSR communication, such as McDonald's, Nike, who invest in social media by creating pages to promote their CSR activities and interact with the customers. People may become loyal to a brand when they interact with their CSR activities and follow or like their pages. Brand attitude attitudes toward a brand is theorized to positively influence electronic word of mouth intentions and purchase intentions. Electronic word of mouth is an important component as social media help easily share information and spread the messages quickly. Gang and Hostveldth found that consumers' perception of a brand's transparency and social responsibility directly affected their trust and attitudes toward the brand and indirectly affected their intentions to spread positive word of mouth and to purchase from the brand. uh, Hypothesis development. For the hypothesis number one, consumers' CSR related activity in social media are positively related to identification with the brand. And this hypothesis suggests that when consumers engage in CSR activities, social media, they are more likely to identify with the brand and feel connected to it. Hypothesis number two, identification with the brand is positively related to word of mouth intention, brand attitude, and purchase intention. This hypothesis proposed that consumers' positive brand attitude mitigates the relationship between their CSR-related activities, social media, and their word of mouth intentions, and suggests that there is a relationship between the CSR related activities and their percentage intention. Uh, Hypothesis three, brand attitude is positively related to word of mouth intention and the perceived intention. The paper argues that brand attitude is a critical variable that mediates the relationship between consumers' engagement in CSR-related activities in social media and their word-of-mouth intentions and the perceived intention. Specifically, when consumers have positive attitude towards the brand, they are more likely to engage in a positive word-of-mouth and make purchases. Methodology. The methodology section of the paper describes the survey conducted by the authors. The survey was administered online to 400 Chinese consumers who had experience with the CSR-related activities on social media that were analyzed using structural equation modeling. The survey included questions about the respondents' attitudes towards CSR engagement with the CSR-related activities on social media and their brand attitude, electronic word of mouth intention, and perceived intention for a specific brand. The survey consisted of four main sections. The first part of the questionnaire focused on the use of social media in general, how much these consumers use their social media and interact with the CSR with other companies' CSR activities. The second section of the survey was designed to explore the potential mediation role of identification with the brand. To assess identification with the brand, a 5-item 7-point Likert type scale was borrowed from Elbert. And third, brand attitude, electronic word of mouth intention, and perceived intention were examined. All scales were adapted from previous research. Brand attitude was assessed by a 3-item 7-point Likert. The one being strongly from one being ranging from 1 being strongly disagree to 7 being strongly agree. In the last section of the questionnaire, information on respondents' demographic characteristics such as gender, age, and city of residence was gained. The result of the study showed that CSR-related activities in social media have a positive impact on brand attitude, electronic word of mouth intention, and perceived intention among Chinese consumers. The study suggests that the more consumers participate in CSR communication via social media, the more likely to engage with the company with the brands and with the companies, and they are more likely to spread information to their friends or family members and to influence their other people's behavior to purchase from the brand. as you know, as the authors found that online consumers find information generated by third-party consumers more trustworthy and credible. As a result, social media have a great influence on consumers, and companies use that to promote their products and introduce new products. The authors also found that the effect of CSR-related activities on brand attitude is partially mediated by electronic word-of-mouth intention, and the effect on intention is fully mediated by both electronic word-of-mouth intention and brand attitude. From this paper, we can understand that consumers want to feel connected to a brand. Feel connected to a brand and feel loyal to company, so that the companies, by using CSR, consumer social responsibility challenges or donation to poor people, or for example to Turkey and Syria earthquake, they send messages to consumers to make them feel that this company is that the consumers is very important to the company as well as the environment. Conclusion. The study highlights the importance of CSR-related activity in social media for building positive relationship with the consumers and increasing purchase intention in the Chinese market. Effective communication of CSR initiative on social media can improve brand attitudes and encourage positive electronic word of mouth and purchase behavior among consumers. Thank you.
Okay. And my comments. This topic is is new one, and it's very interesting. And the presentation you conducted just now put emphasis on the literature review and hypothesis development. And you can go down to the hypothesis development and the theoretical model slide. Okay, this is a good illustration for the presentation, the literature review, the literature presentation, because for the empirical study, the conceptual framework incorporating the hypothesis is the core of the study. So this conceptual framework clearly illustrates the relationship between the key variables, right? And showing the relationship, predicted relationship between the key variables. So this is a good illustration. And then go down to the results, the methodology and the results. And actually for this kind of study, and the main point is to show the measurement scales or the measurement items for the key variables, because this research used the structural equation modeling. This is good way to analyze the latent variables relationship, the relationship between latent variables, just like this research explored. So this is a popular data analysis method. And I think that if you are interested in this type of research, you can learn more on this structural equation modeling method. Okay. And then for the results section, the same with Muameng, you can present the main tables or figures. I think in this research, there should be a figure with the path coefficients, right? So you can present that figure to show the results and then explain the results, the main findings, and the testing of mediation. How did they test the mediation? Partially or fully mediation. Okay, so the detailed method you can try to make clear and learn more. Okay, so this will be very helpful for your following research.
Okay.
Okay, and totally you did a good job. And now we have no more time, and till now we only have 4 students who didn't present. They're Wang Cong, Yu Xuan, Liu Xingchen, and Li Shui. So next class, I think maybe we have just one more class, cause next class on May 1st we'll have a holiday, and the last class is on May 8th, right? So you 4 guys, Wang Cong, Yu Xuan, Liu Xingchen, and Li Shui, please prepare for the presentation in the last class, okay?
Okay, Laoshi. Laoshi, did you receive my presentation from email?
Let me check. Li Shui, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll check it and let you know later, okay?
Okay, thank you, Laoshi.
You're welcome.
Laoshi, should we present anything? Next class?
Next class.
I should represent?
Yeah, you should. Because only 4 students, including you, Wang Cong, Li Shui, Yu Xuan, and Liu Xingchen, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Laoshi.
Yes. So you should prepare the presentation.
Laoshi, I did it last class.
Teacher.
Yeah.
Wang Cong already presented last time.
Already presented? Oh, sorry for that. Let's check it. Double check it. Okay, Wang Cong, yeah. Wang Cong already presented. Sorry for that. And now we have Li Shui, Yu Xuan, and Xingchen, right? All of other students presented except you 3 students, Li Shui,
Yes,
Yu Xuan, and Liu Xingchen.
Okay, Laoshi.
Okay, Laoshi.
Okay. Wang Cong, yeah, you already presented.
Okay,
Sorry for that. Okay, so see you next time.